Testing 1, 2.
Testing. I just didn't hear music, I
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 60 of Preston Jensen's podcast. I'm your host, Preston. If you're new here, feel free to go back and listen to all 60 episodes, including this one. Chelsea is my guest tonight. Tonight, I'm going to kind of just be bouncing some ideas off of her and kind of ideas on where the podcast may be going, where my YouTube videos might be going in the future. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
A little bit of how hectic it is to sometimes record a podcast on a weekly basis. Right now, we are trying to go against the clock. Usually, our daughter is in bed, and she usually is in bed for a couple hours by now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time of this recording, she just wasn't having it tonight. So she's actually upstairs watching some TV while we are recording a podcast. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it goes well, because I've went 60 weeks straight, and hopefully she promised us. She said, if I'm able to stay up, you guys can go do your podcast. So we'll see how everything works out here. I watched a very interesting video this week, and it was talking about videos online. I'm a big fan of Peter Mckinnon. I don't know if you've personally seen many of his videos. Have you seen any?
I'm wondering, you've probably showed me. You showed me so many that I don't know who they all are. Yeah.
But it was titled A New Era of Making Videos Online. And he did a very interesting test where he took the same video, the same story he was trying to get across on all videos, and he put them out on Instagram, YouTube, I think like YouTube Shorts, and YouTube and TikTok. And he was basically trying to see where he got the most interaction. And he made like a feature film on YouTube where he did all the editing. He made everything look very cinematic, like people are used to with Peter Mckinnon. And then, in that video, he's making coffee with this super fancy like siphon thing, and it just looked amazing. I mean, the sound overs were on par. The cinematography was just perfect. The lighting was great. And he posted that on YouTube. And then he did something on TikTok where he basically just explained the siphon while filming on his phone. Absolutely no editing. Didn't even look like he used an external microphone. He could have. I guess I don't know the process that went behind it. But he showed that the video that he spent the most time on YouTube actually didn't get the most interaction. And he's kind of wondering, is that the way the future of content creation is going to go? One of his theories was that people kind of can relate to people just filming on a cell phone. So they want to watch a video where someone's relatable. And another thing that he was saying is he feels like people that watch a professionally done video don't trust it as much, because they feel like, a big corporation might be behind it, or pros are behind it, and they're just doing something to sell.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that theory?
I can definitely see that. I mean, I don't know. I think of a lot of the people I follow, and they're doing a lot of things, I think, on their phone. They're not necessarily, they don't have a setup like
I was curious.
A professional setup. So I don't know.
I was curious because you don't really watch too much YouTube, do you?
Mm-mm.
I mean, most of the time you're watching shorter videos.
Or like, I guess like the stories on Instagram.
Right. And that's what he said. A lot of people aren't even looking for things on Instagram in their stories. They just go to Instagram stories and sit there and watch whatever comes up
Yeah.
over and over and over again, which is kind of scary because you kind of get stuck into a loop,
Yeah.
as someone
I guess for
consuming the
me, I just
content.
like it because it's short. It's like short, sweet, and I can just skip through things if I
Right.
need to.
See, now, personally, I'm totally different. I'm not very into the short things. I mean, I get the point of them. It's nice to see, like, if I'm trying to learn how to do something, it's nice when they're not saying, oh, please subscribe to my channel, or check out this advertisement here. I like when it's just short and to the point and I can get something fixed, especially when I'm trying to do like home renovation stuff, or if I have a problem with a leaky toilet or something. I don't care how cinematic it is. I just want the content, so I know
like
how to
with
do something.
I found that with like this Cricut machine that I have. If I want to find something, it's like I feel like I'm skipping to parts until you finally get to the very end where they show me how to do it, because they're trying to like sell you the product. Like, no, I already got the product. I need you to show me how to use it.
Exactly. So would you agree with the statement that you might trust someone filming on a cell phone a little bit more than a professionally done video?
Just the trust, like they're more genuine,
or
what?
Yeah, more genuine. You might relate to it a little bit better.
I definitely think I'd relate to it because I'd feel like, well, I could do that.
Interesting. I think that's a little scary from professional YouTubers' perspective, because a lot of these professional YouTubers make a living doing product photography and stuff for big companies. And I think...
But I wouldn't say that I don't trust those people. I'd just say it's more relatable.
Right.
If it's something that I feel like I could do.
I'm kind of curious that, do you think companies in the future will say, hey, you know what? People think it's more relatable to just have a video on a cell phone.
Right.
We don't need to hire someone like that's good at cinematography and stuff. We can just go film something quick on our cell phone and people will relate with that better.
I don't know.
For me, that's a scary thing as a YouTuber, because I'm constantly, I'm not up to the level of like a Peter Mckinnon or any of these people. A lot of people probably look at my videos and think, oh, this is very relatable because I could do that, But I do put a lot of time into my videos, and a lot of that is stuff I'm trying to get to that level in the future.
Right.
So I guess that's a little bit scary. Like, oh man, if I get there and people are just looking for cell phone videos, you know. So I thought that was very interesting, and it kind of got me thinking about just YouTube in general. When I go way back to when I started watching YouTube, it was a guy who made a poor man's kayak, Marty Zoffinger.
Okay.
And you remember those videos?
I know him, yes.
Because those videos I watched over and over and over again, and it was good cinematography at the time. He was using GoPros. He had all sorts of different angles, and he took you along for his adventures. And he still makes great videos. I still enjoy it. But it was a much different time than now, when it seems like everyone is having like a little YouTube set. Everyone's just sitting in front of the camera. I know there's a whole class of people who are out exploring and stuff, but it seems like even the people that are out exploring still have a YouTube set at their house. And it seems like YouTubers kind of, one of them comes up with a great idea, and then everyone kind of piggybacks on that. Right. Now, have you found that on even the short stuff that you were watching?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the people I'm watching, they're not necessarily worried about how they're delivering things. It's more just like what they're creating. So I don't know. It's a little bit different than what you're watching.
Right. And then another thing that I think of as far as the ideas is, it seems like whenever there's a new product release, I know when that product is released because, you go to the home page on YouTube and every single one of my favorite content creators has a review of the same product. So it's like, I don't know if that type of thing kind of takes away creativity from the marketplace. It's a great and wonderful thing, because that gives another income stream for some of these YouTubers who may not be getting the high AdSense revenue. It's a good way for them to get potentially a free product and to make a video and hopefully make a little bit of money on it. But does that kind of thing turn you off as far as, everyone's got this product. I'm not going to watch 100 videos on the same product.
Oh, for sure. I don't think I would be interested in watching everyone. I'd probably pick, my favorite people, my top people to watch. But a lot of the people like that I follow or that I'm watching, they're their own creators, so they're making their own products. And so they're not showing me someone else's. They're showing me things that they're creating and that they're using.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people I watch, basically tech reviews, gear reviews,
right.
On the other side of things, like bug out bag equipment. And it seems like when anything new comes out, just boom, you can guarantee they're going to have a video on it. And it kind of goes back to a lot of the people, I started subscribing to them because they were different.
Yes.
Yep. And it seems like everyone's got their own unique story to tell. And it's kind of fun when it's still their own and unique, and it's not just kind of like everyone else. So I don't know. But at the same time, I still like that content. So I don't know. It just got me, this video of Peter's really got me thinking. I'm going to link that video in the description of the podcast. And if you guys want to see a video of the podcast we're producing tonight, that'll be on YouTube in a couple days. I don't know if many people like watching YouTube videos of a podcast. I've kind of noticed that when I post videos of a podcast or an interview, that the YouTube algorithm kind of says, nah, we're not sending this out to everybody. I don't know why. But it seems like from my personal experience, if you make just a video that's going on, it's not an interview, it's not a podcast, it's a little bit shorter, it seems to get better retention.
So it knows it's an interview because you have that in the title?
I don't know. It just, the algorithm just, at least on my channel. Now, some people's channels like Joe Rogan and some of the gigantic podcasts, when one of those episodes are released, boom, there's thousands, if not millions of views instantly, But that brings me to my next point is I've got some ideas that I want to bounce off you for this podcast for the future. You can tell me if they're okay or, let's put that one on the back burner.
Putting me on the spot.
Yep. First thing I was thinking about is like weekly segments. A couple examples I came up, like Chelsea's Choices or Preston's Picks. And like, I don't know what you'd want to do your choices of, but I thought like Preston's Picks of, maybe like the NFL season, who I think is going to win for that week, or sports. Chelsea's Choices, maybe you could pick your favorite, I don't know. Could be anything. And maybe you guys, the viewers or listeners want to chime in. I like that idea, though. Chime in and let us know if this is a good idea. Because even if I think it's a good idea and Chelsea think it's a good idea, if you guys don't like listening to it, it's not worth putting out there. Another thing I was thinking about doing is creating a sound button bar of maybe some custom things that are just unique to my show. I know a lot of other shows do this already, but I don't have anything. I feel like
we've talked about this. We've
talked
said
about it.
This is a good idea. You should do it.
Like obviously I use the Rodecaster Pro. I've done a million videos on it on my YouTube channel. I've talked about it on this podcast. So, you've got the basic button bar sounds, but it would be nice to have, some custom stuff.
Yeah, you've talked about that, and I think that is a good idea.
And I kind of think that goes along with the brand of your podcast, so maybe.
And it's just associated with you.
Associated with me. Yep. Here the next section this is starting to just kind of sound like a radio station, I guess, because pre-recorded segments. Would that interest you at all?
Like of...
Anything. Interviews, like little clips of other things.
That you put into your podcast?
That you put into the podcast.
Yeah.
Possibly. I think, it all just depends on what it is.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm one of those that I have to hear it, I have to see it in order to like fully understand what you mean.
Another one of the ideas I had, and this is something I don't know if I really like, is potentially having advertising on my podcast. And, through Anchor, which that's the platform that I host my podcast on, you're able to just have them select areas and put in advertising that they like. I don't really like that idea because I'm sure you don't get very much money for that. I know I've heard Tom Buck talking about when they do that, you've got to have thousands of downloads before you can get enough money. And his perspective was that it's just not worth it to have that ad segment in there if you're not getting paid that much.
Right.
And that makes total sense. But on the other hand, it might be nice that if local companies or something are listening to this, that you go out and actually sell the advertising yourself, and you're able to put companies that you like, you relate to, and that the people listening to your show relate to into your show. What do you think?
I like that idea.
Well, one of the things that really stuck out in my mind was we recently just took a trip to Minneapolis this past weekend, and we listened to a lot of crime podcasts on the way. And the ads on the crime podcasts that we were listening to were very annoying.
Yep. And they were the same one every single episode.
Same one over and over
multiple
and over
times
again. And several times I was thinking, this ad, the episode is good, but I might turn off the episode just because I don't want to hear this again. It's not worth it. So I definitely don't want to turn people off just because of advertising.
Right.
So that might be something down the road I'll look into, but as of now, I kind of like it the way it is. You just hear the episode the way it was supposed to be heard.
But it's a possibility to think about.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
And you know what? The other thing is maybe you could throw in an advertisement at the end of your podcast. Then if people have listened all the way through, if they want to continue to listen to support your advertisers, that might be a possibility as well. Did you hear that people are kind of upset at Instagram right now? I was just kind of watching the trends online, and it seems like people are kind of upset because one of their head people came out and said they're not a photo app anymore. They're more of like a video little clips app. And I think that's funny because I go on there and I'm only on there for photos. I guess you said earlier in the show that you've been watching, what is it even called on there? Instagram stories?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really use stories too much.
I don't know. It's just, I just watch them, but it's a lot of just the creators that I follow, and then they're walking you through some of the things they're making. And
as a content creator, especially for my drone business, I find Instagram is very useful for the photo side of things. I should take advantage more of the stories. I haven't as of yet, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of funny because...
So why are people upset?
Well, I think they're just kind of upset because, Instagram was originally made for photos.
Right.
And it's an awesome app and platform for photos. People are able to share their photos, and that gets out to a lot of people. TikTok came along, and it seemed to be the big hit, everyone posting little short clips, and Instagram's like, whoa, we want to get a little piece of that. And YouTube's doing the same thing. They created YouTube Shorts. So everyone's trying to get a little piece, and it's kind of funny because it seems like one app comes up with a good idea, the other app wants to implement that into their platform, so people go to use theirs. It kind of loops back to what we were saying at the start. Same with YouTubers. One person thinks of a good idea, everyone kind of piggybacks off of that for a while until a new idea comes up. And over and over and over again.
I think we talked about this last time I was on, was Instagram, like those short stories, is where I've heard the people I follow, they'll talk about if they don't post things every day to those stories,
right,
then you're going to lose them for a while until they start posting a lot again. So, they're people, they're constantly having to do stuff every single day, even if it's sometimes there's days where they talk about things that they're doing like in their personal life, just not even anything about their content or what I'm even following them for.
And people, if you follow this podcast, that kind of thing kind of happens a lot in this podcast. I don't have a guest on every time because I've got, other stuff I want to talk about as well. So, all this stuff kind of relates to itself. And I also kind of think it reminds me of Apple. Apple is one of my favorite companies. I I like their products. I mean, it seems like all their products just work. I like the iPhone. I've got the Apple Mac Mini.
User-friendly.
User-friendly. It seems like things just work. And so I've always watched their presentations. They're big. It's a big production on all the new stuff coming out. And it seems like every year, like this year, Zoom was the big hit because of COVID.
Right.
Everyone was using Zoom, and it seems like this year, Apple went after Zoom. They implemented a lot of the features from Zoom into their FaceTime app. You're able to now share a link from your FaceTime thing to someone who doesn't even have an Apple product. Like you could send it to someone with an Android phone, and they're able to use FaceTime. So it seems like Apple sees an idea, and instead of just buying the company, they just perfect it and implement it into their software. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, it all goes back to competition. And I think in order for things to get better, competition is always good. I like to welcome competition because, as a creator, it pushes you. As a company, it pushes you to never become complacent and to always get better. Can you agree with that?
Yep, 100%. And I can agree that you're like that too. So
yeah. I maybe to a fault at times, right?
Yep.
Well, do you have anything else you want to add before we close this podcast? It's a little bit shorter tonight. Well, not too much, but we got to get upstairs and see what our daughter is up to. Hopefully she hasn't torn the house apart. I think she'll. Hopefully, I'm sure. I'm sure everything will be all right. Yeah, she promised us. So
yeah.
Yep. No. But anything else you want to add before we close this podcast?
No, I have nothing to add. I think you brought up great ideas, so it'll be interesting to see what you do in the future.
We'll see if I can implement some of this stuff in the future. For me, it'll probably be a slow process. I'm just getting used to Ecamm Live and all of its features, so a lot of fun things to come. I've got quite a few very good, recognizable guests that you guys are going to like that are going to be coming on the show in the near future as well. Never like to give out names because you never know if something falls through and it doesn't happen, then you don't want people to get upset with you. So I appreciate each and every one of you listening, watching on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, leave good feedback. Thank you for everything, and thank you for 60 episodes. How fun is that? Yep. 60 weeks in a row. When I started, I couldn't even imagine going 5 weeks, and
crazy.
Here we are at 60. So thanks again. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to check out more of my content, go over to PrestonJensen.com. Thank you, and see you next week.